Hi everyone, in this video I want to show you how to make this really cool planar dissolve and cross sections effect. So here I have a plain blueprint actor and some random meshes on the ground, and here if I just move the plane down like this, you can see that I am cutting the meshes like this, and you can see the cross section of these meshes. So if I go here, I can see it looks like this, and here I can also see the cross sections, and here you can see another cross section, and here also. And if I move it down like this, you can see it is cutting the mesh like this, and I can move this up. I can dissolve these meshes using this plane and also show the insides of the meshes like that. And you can also change the cross sections, etc. Here I can just move it up, and I can just rotate this plane like this, so it will cut it like this. And if I move it here, and now if I just move it in like this, you can see that it is cutting the mesh with this angle. So if I just rotate the plane like this, I can control the angle like that, and I can move it and cut the entire mesh like this also. So now here if I just bring it down like this, and here I can just open up the material, and here I have some parameters, so I can control the UV size here and control the cross section texture. I can also change the color of the cross section texture. I can also change the background color, or I can make all of this black like this, and now it is pure black, and I can move it up and down, and I can get this dissolve effect. I can also click this and this, so I can use a standard texture. So I can tick this, and I can select a texture from here like this one. So now I get this effect, and if I use this texture, I get this effect. So I can cut it like this also, and here I have this really cool effect. And here another thing we can do is that I can go to the curve here, and I can drag this, and I can change the width. Here you can see the glow. I can change it like this. I can also change the color here to some really cool colors, or I can make it dark so it looks like this, or white, or whatever you like. And I can increase the brightness like this, so you can easily control the width and the color. So here we have this planar dissolve with a flame texture like this, so it looks like a flame. And here I have this cut like this, and this one is just a pure flame effect. And here you can see the inside is like a fire. So here I can just select this material, and I can change the alpha like this, so I can dissolve the mesh in a planar way like that. Here I can also change the texture amount, so it will control the dissolve like this. And then here I can also change the direction. So here if I give 1 for green and 0 here for blue, I can cut it like that, like laterally like this. And if I change this to 0 and 1 for the R, I can cut it sideways. So this works without the plane like this one. You can just control the direction here without the plane, and you can control the dissolve amount with an alpha. You don't really have to move the plane around like this one. And here you can see the insides here, and here you can see there is a fire effect and a cross section. So here to control this, I am using a scalar parameter, and if I move the alpha here, you can see that it is dissolving and showing the insides without the need of the plane like this. So this is what we are creating today, and if you want to get the entire project file, you can support me on my Patreon, And for $5, you can download this project file and also download all the project files from the past 6 years on my channel. And this project file also include a special bonus file for my Patreon supporters. So here, when we move the plane, it affects the entire objects like this because we are using global parameters for this. So here, if I just press simulate, here I have this individual plane and I can move this and cut the mesh here. And I have this one and I can just cut it with this individually. So if I just select this blueprint actor, I have this plane cut actor option here and I can choose which plane to use. So if I just stop simulate and select this and just select the plane interface 5 here, and if I press simulate again and if I just move this, you can see that it is now cutting with this one and this one really don't affect it. So the Patreon bonus is this blueprint file. So you can use individual planes for individual meshes like this. So it's really easy and you will get all of that for $5. And thank you very much if you are already supporting me. It means a lot to me. Thank you. So first I will show you how to make the simple effect. Then I will show you how to make the more and more advanced version of the effect. So right click, then click on material. Then we can name this M, simple. Then open it up. Then we can press V and click. So we get this parameter and we can call this base color and we can connect this to the base color. Now we can give a reddish color like this for this. So it will look like this. Now we can select this and change the blend mode to masked. So we get this opacity mask. And if I set this to 0, it will become invisible like that. So if it is 0, it will be invisible, and if it is like more than 0.3 or something like that, it will be visible. Now we need to have a gradient that goes from the bottom of the character to the top of the character, and an easy way to do that is by using a bounding box based UV. And here the B coordinate will give a gradient that goes from 0 to 1 vertically. So if I connect this to the opacity mask, now here you can see that only half of the sphere is visible because of the gradient. And if I connect the gradient to the base color, and if I just disconnect this and set this to 1 and connect the B gradient to base color again, you can see a gradient that goes from black to white at the top. The R will have one that goes from the left to right like this one, and B will have another one like this that goes from front to back like this. So here we can just dot this by another vector parameter. So if I press and hold V and click, and now we can name this direction and connect this to the dot. So basically a dot product takes two vectors and output a scalar value. This is a scalar value, meaning that it only has one channel. So if we give RG and B here, it will only output a linear color. It will output a grayscale value. So if I connect this to the base color now, so a dot product basically compares the two vectors we input and see how close they are to each other. So here, since this is all 0, everything is 0. But if I put 1 here for the B channel, then we have the B gradient, and we can also give G here. So we have a gradient that goes from left to right also. So that's what a dot product does. So with this, we can switch the direction. Now we can create an alpha to control the dissolve amount. But before that, I will just connect this to the base color and connect this to the opacity mask. And now we can get a subtract node and a multiply node. And we can give a value of 2 here and another subtract node and connect this here and connect this to the opacity mask. And for the A here, we can get a scalar parameter by pressing and holding S and clicking, and we can call this alpha, and this value goes from 0 to 1. So for the slider max, we can set this to 1. So it will make it easier to gradually control this value from 0 to 1. And now I will set this to 0 and connect this to the multiply here. So when this is 0 and multiply this by 2 won't do anything, and here we will get a negative 1 by subtracting this by 1. And if we subtract that by the dot product here it will be 1 for the C axis because it is a blue channel. And if we subtract minus 1 from that 1, this minus here and this minus here will make that a positive. So we are just adding 1 to all of this. So all part of the mesh will have a value 1 or greater than 1. So everything will be visible. So if I change this to like 1 here, then it will be invisible, because here we are multiplying it by 2, which will make it 2, and here we are subtracting it by 1, which will make it 1, and here we are subtracting 1 from this gradient, so everything will be 0. The maximum value we get here is 1, and the rest of the value is less than 1. So if we subtract 1 from that, everything will be 0. So everything will be invisible. And if I change this to 0.5, you can see that only half of the mesh is visible. We can also 1 minus this to get the inverse of this effect. So the top will be invisible. Now here if I just click apply, and I can right click the material and create an instance, and I can add this to the cube. And here if I just change the alpha, you can see that I can just dissolve the mesh like this. And if I change the direction to 1 here, I can change the value like this. And if I add 1 here also, I can dissolve it like that. And here you might have to go above 1 to completely dissolve the mesh, because here 2 of the channels are like 1. The dot product value may go above 1. So you might have to change the alpha slider max to like 3 or something like that. And now click apply. And if I increase it like this, you can see that it is dissolving the mesh like this. We can also keep the alpha at 1, alpha max value at 1, and we can just multiply this by a scalar, this by a bias value maybe like 3, 4 right now, and you can change this value also. If we are inputting 1 for all of them, you can use 3, and now it should work fine. And even if I set R to 1 also, it should be able to completely dissolve the mesh like that. So now I will set this value back to 0 and 0, and here we need the insides to be visible. So in order to do that, in the simpler version, we can just click on two-sided and click apply. Here we can set the alpha value to like 0.3 or 0.2. So now you can see that the inside is visible, and here I will just set the bias to 1. We are just going to work with the z-axis for now, so we can set this alpha to like 0.5. So now you can see that the inside is visible here. And now here we can give some color to the inside by getting a two-sided node. And if I connect this to the base color, here you can see the outside is white and the inside is black, which means the insides have a value of 0 and the outside of the mesh have a value of 1. So we can use this node to selectively texture or color the inside or the outside of our mesh. So here I will just connect the base color back, and I will get a lerp, and now connect this to the alpha and connect this to the emissive color. Now here you can see that the inside is 0 value and it is not emissive, and the outside is like white color and it is emissive. We want the opposite of this, so we can set this to like 0. And here we can also use a multiply for this, but for now I will use a lerp. Now get another vector parameter, and we can call this inside color and connect this here. And if I set this to like a green color like this and click apply, and now here I will increase the alpha like this, so I can cut the mesh. So here now you can see that the insides kind of look like a volume, and if I set this color to like black or something like that, now here you can see that it is not really a volume because there is no shadow in the emissive part. It kind of looks like a volume. So if I decrease the emissive value, it kind of looks like inside of a cube because of all the shadow and everything like that. So we need to fix that. We will use a different method later to fix this issue. Right now we can give a bright value like this. Now we can also try to texture the inside using a grid texture. So we can go to the content browser, then we can go to start content, then we can go to textures and get the grid texture and bring it in. Now we need to project this grid to the inside of the mesh so that it will look like a plane no matter from where we are looking at it. So in order to do that, we can get a node called virtual plane coordinates, this one, and here we can connect the UVs here, and we can multiply the green channel of this texture with this one because the green channel has this hex design. Now here for the plane normal axis, we can get a 3 vector by pressing and holding 3 and clicking, and we can set the normal to c is equal to 1, and here for the x-axis we can get another constant and connect it here, and for the plane center we can get an actor position node for now, and for the UV scale we can get a scalar parameter, and we can call this grid size and set this to like 10 or something like that, or maybe like 300. So now you can see that the inside kind of looks like there's a grid in it, but it is not really perfect. But we will fix that later using a different technique. But this is a part of that technique. Now here we can get another lerp and connect this here and connect this to the A here and connect this here, and we can get another vector parameter and call this BG color. So connect this to A and connect this here and click apply. Now here we can increase or decrease the grid size, and if I change the alpha, it kind of looks like this. And here I can select the BG color and I can change it to a pink color like this, and I can change the inside color to a darker color like this. So now we have this effect, like it has a volume inside it when we cut it like this. Now we can add a fire texture to break up the edges. This is an optional effect. So in order to do that, I can just duplicate this, and here I will just type in fire and get the fire texture from the starter content. And here I will just move it here and bring it here, and I will get a panel and I will just pan it upwards by 0.1. Now we can get a multiply and connect this here, and we can get a scalar parameter, and here we can call this flame amount. I will default this to like 0.1, and here we can get a subtract, and here we can just 1 minus this and then just subtract this and connect this here and then just saturate this, so it will be clamped between 0 and 1. And now we can connect this here to the opacity mask and click apply. Now here we have burning edges like this, and here if I change the flame amount, I can increase or decrease the flame size. You can also create parameters here to control the speed if you want, or you can get a texture coordinate and get a multiply, and you can change this value to change the tiling of the flame texture if you want. Now we can give this some color using curves. So in order to do that, right click, then go to miscellaneous, then go to curve atlas, and I will name this CAT symbol. Then here open it up. We can set the texture width to like 128. We only need that. And here for the square resolution, we can untick this and set the texture height to 2. So we can have 2 gradient maps here. That's all we need. Now right click, then go to miscellaneous again, then go to curves, then click on linear curves, then click select. And now we can call this CB, then open it up. And here we can open the curve atlas and add our curve here. We can either drag the curve atlas into here, or you can use curve atlas raw parameter. If you're dragging it in, make sure that you can select which portion of the texture you want. But if you use the parameter, you can just click here and select the one we created and select the curve we want. And now connect this to the curve time. And for now, I will just connect this to the MC color just to show you and click apply. So now you can see that we have a gradient here. So if I just set this to like a large red value like this and click here and set this to like black, you can see that I have a fire at the bottom and kind of have a dark color at the top. So you can either change the directions here, like bring it here, bring the bright color here, or we can do that in the material by just 1 minusing this. So it will kind of invert it. Now if I click apply, now if I just bring the curve down here and I can move the black like this, so I can control the width of the edge like this. And also I can click here and change this value like that. So I can have a really interesting effect like this. So here you can say it is black like that. So if I just bring it down here like that, I will get a look like this. So I can control the edge like this. So if I control the alpha, you can see that it is changing with the alpha like this. So now I will just delete all of this. So we just need the bright red color or orange color, and I will bring it like this. So we have an edge like this one. You can also change the saturation here to get different looks. I mean the hue. So here you can see adjust hue, saturation, etc. So you can change that to get different look like that maybe. I will go back to the material and change the speed to 0.7 and click apply. That's very fast. So let's create a parameter to control the speed. So get a time node and get a multiply and connect this here and connect this to the time and get a scalar parameter and call this speed. And now we can set this to like 0.2 or something like that and click apply. Now we can change the speed here like this. And here if you convert the texture to a parameter and name this noise texture and click apply, you can change this to a different texture to get a different look like this. Here you can also click this and set the MIP value to absolute, and here you can set the level. So if I set the level to like 2 or something like that, let's convert this to a parameter, then click apply. Then here I can set the level to like 4, so we get this effect, or 1. It is kind of making the texture lower and lower resolution as we increase the MIP level. So we can have interesting effect like these ones by controlling these values. Now let's add back the grid to the insides. So go here and connect this to B here and connect this to the MSC color and click apply. Now we can have an effect like this. But what if you don't want the texture and just want the clean cut? In order to do that, we can get a switch parameter. So type in static switch parameter and we can call this use texture, and here for the true we can connect this from the saturate, and for the false we can connect it from the subtract here like this. And now we can connect this to the 1 minus here, and we can also connect this to the opacity mask here. Now click apply. So now we can go back to the material instance, and here I will just duplicate this, and now here I will just add it to the cube here, and here I can just click this and go to switch parameter and tick this and tick true, so we have the flame effect. So one thing to keep in mind is that if you are using a switch parameter in your material, that means these two instances are two different draw codes since they are compiled differently, because this one is compiled without the switch being true, and this one and the second one here is compiled with the switch being true. So they are basically like two different materials at this point, and it will give a cool effect like this one. Now let's add some more parameters to control this better. So I can open up the material, and here I can also boost the edge color by getting a multiply and connecting it here and connecting it to B and get a scalar parameter, and we can call this boost and set this to 10. So now the edge will be a bit more brighter, and you can control the brightness using this. And here I only made these parts for demonstration. Later we will create a better way so that even you can give darker colors and it won't show like this. So right now we can just get a multiply and then get the two-sided node and connect it to the MSC color. And here for the color we can just duplicate this curve again, and here we can get the color from curve time 1, which is a really bright orange color we gave, and we can connect it here. We can also multiply this with the boost color so the color stays consistent. So I will just disconnect this and this like this, and here I think it is just better to get a lerp and connect it to the alpha and connect it here and connect this here. So the inside will be this color, the really bright color, and the outside will be the gradient we created, this one. So now connect it to the MSC color and click apply. Now if I go back to the map, I get an effect like this, and here I can select this, and here I can just change the boost value like this or reduce it, so it kind of looks like this. And here to control the width we can go here and we can just increase this like that, so it will get brighter like this. So now we can control both of these, and this is what we want. And I can change the alpha to cut the cube like this. Now we can create the advanced version of the material that works with the plain blueprint actor. So for that we can first create the blueprint actor. So right click, then go to blueprint class, then click on actor, then name it BP plain, then open it up. And now here we can add a plane mesh. So type in plane and get the plane mesh, and here we can right click and go to material, then go to material parameter collection, and I will call this PC advanced data, then open it up. Now here we can create two parameters. So click plus here, and here we can type in position and click here to add another element, and we can call this direction, and then we can go to the blueprint, and here we can grab the plane, and we can type in get world location, then drag again and type in get up vector. So it will get the vector that is pointing towards the top of the cube, like this one, this C axis, or this blue color arrow, that is the up vector. So in the case of this plane, that will just be a unit vector with the C value as 1 and X and Y as 0, 0 for this plane, because it is directly like this. And if you rotate it, that value will change. So now we can drag and type in set vector parameter value and select the one we created and change the parameter name to position, then connect it to the parameter value. And here we can duplicate this and change this to direction and connect it here and connect this to here. And one more thing we need to do for this to work in runtime is to copy paste this to the event tick. So when the game starts, we update this parameter. And if you want to continuously change it, you can also use a event tick here, or you can create a timeline or another function that updates when we move the plane during runtime. But in the editor, this construction script will always fire when we move the plane around or rotate it. So we don't really need to do that here. Now click compile and save. Now we can create our advanced material. So for that, right click, then material, M, then create an instance of this, and then open it up. Here we can get a vector parameter, and we can call this base color. Now we can bring our collection parameters in. So right click, then type in collection parameter and change this to the advanced one we created, and set this to direction, and duplicate this and set this to position. And then we need to mask this. Since this is a 4 vector, we only need the 3 channels. So just mask this RGB. And then we need to change this material blend mode to mask like before. So we can make it visible and invisible. Now we can get the world position of the material. And now we can just subtract this with this one. And here for the direction, we can just dot this with this one. And now if I connect this to the opacity mask and click apply, and here I can go to the map and I can add the instance to this cube, and here nothing will be visible because we are not really passing this data to the material. But when I bring in the plane like this, you can see that the cube is visible, and here the plane doesn't really have to intersect the cube, it just need to go below it like this to get the cut effect like this. And we can also rotate the plane like this to get a cut like this. So the plane is not important, it is just for visualization. And now if I just bring the plane down like this, you can see that it is cutting the cube like this. Now we need to add the edge to this. So for that, we can just create a curve Addas like before. And here we can set the Addas we created. And now in order to control the width of the edges, we can get a divide, and we can get a scalar parameter, and we can call this edge length, and we need to 1 minus this, and now connect it here and connect this to the MC color, and now click apply, and now get a multiply and connect it here, and now connect this to the MC color and get a scalar parameter, and we can call this boost. And with this boost value, we can control the intensity of the color from the curve without changing the curve itself. Now click apply. Now here we can open the instance, and we can change the edge length to like 5 or 6. So now you can see the edge clearly like that. And if you want, you can also change this to two-sided, etc. like before. So now we will get an effect like this. And this is exactly what we want. And one more thing to note here is that if you want to use like multiple planes with multiple boxes, you don't really have to create additional parameters name here like vector parameter like position, direction, and you don't really have to create another one in the parameter collection, but you can just create one inside here, like get a vector parameter, and you can call this position and connect it to the subtract here. And how you set this value is by just getting a reference to the mesh you have. So imagine if this plane was this cube, and if you had the reference, you can drag and type in set vector parameter value on material, and here you will type in direction, and you will just plug in these values like this and connect it here, etc. So that's how you do it. And also you can create one for the direction also. So duplicate that and create and change this to position and connect it here. And you can do the same here. So get another vector parameter and change the name to direction and connect it here. You don't really have to create collection parameter for everyone, but when you do like this, you need to have a reference to the cube. Like this cube should be a blueprint or something like that, or you need a reference to it. You can do that in the level blueprint also if you want, or you can create a blueprint interface for casting, etc., whichever works for you. So the Patreon bonus has one with the eyedropper tool. So here you can select the plane you want. So this is included with the Patreon bonus files. You can check it out from the links from the description below. Now if I go to the advanced material and change the base color to like orange like this, you can see that the insides kind of looks like a box. It doesn't really look like a volume. That is because the inside has some shadows, and because of shadows we can perceive depth here, but we don't really want that. We want this to look like a volume. So in order to do that, I was trying a lot of different methods. So one method was to just select this here, and if you go to the shading model, you can get from material expression, and here whichever shading model we plug in here, we can get that. And I thought if I just plug in two-sided and get lit for outside and unlit shading model for inside, it will work, because unlit don't really have any shadowing. But it doesn't really work that way with the shading model switch for materials that are unlit. I don't really know if I'm missing something or not, but I couldn't really get this to working. So I found another way, that is by using a overlay material, and we will let the overlay be unlit so it won't shadow inside. So here I can select this symbol material and I can increase the alpha, so it will cut like this. So here you can see the insides, but that is because the color is too bright. If I decrease the color, it will also shadow like this. So in order to get this without the really bright colors, and here to show you, I will just disable the two-sided and click apply, and now we have an effect like this. So in order to add volume to it, we can create a new material, and I will call this M symbol overlay, then open it up, and then we can set the shading model to unlit and the blend mode to mask. And here for the MC color, we can go to our symbol material and we can bring in the virtual plane coordinates. So just copy, paste it here like this, and now just connect this to the MC color, and here we can just connect this straight to the MC color. We don't really want these two. Now just pick two-sided so both sides will be visible. And for the opacity mask, we can go to the symbol material again, and here we can just bring in these nodes and paste it here and connect it to the opacity mask. And for the alpha here, we need to control the overlay material and the symbol material together. So for the alpha, we can go to a parameter collection and create a new scalar parameter, and we can call this alpha, and we can go to the symbol material. We can right click and type in collection parameter and select the parameter collection we created, then select alpha, then connect it here, and then copy this and paste it here and connect it here also, and click apply. And here don't forget to click apply here also. Then we can select this cube and type in overlay, and we can create an instance and add that in like this. And here you can see that it is rendering outside of the cube. In order to make this inside, we can go back to the overlay, and here we can control the size of the overlay by controlling the world position offset. So right click and type in vertex normal. This node gives an idea about where all the normals of the vertexes are pointing, and we can move them in the direction they are facing by getting this node. And now get a multiply, and here we need to make the overlay smaller, so we can get a negative 0.2 or negative 0.1 and connect that to the world position offset. You can also convert this to a parameter if you want to control the size using the parameters. So now click apply. So now you can see that it is inside. So now if I open this up and if I change the alpha, you can see that it is inside the cube and you cannot see any shadows there. So I can open this up and I can change the grid size like this. And now we have an effect like this. You can also get this cobble texture and go to the overlay and connect the UV here and connect this to the MC color and click apply. Now we have a stone texture like this. So now we get an effect like this. So we can go back and we can just reset this and click apply. Now we can go to the instance and we can change the background color to blue and the inside color to black like this. So we get a grid like this. We can also decrease or increase the size like that. And now we get this effect. We can also go to the simple instance and change the direction a bit. So I can give 1 for G and 0 here for B, but now it kind of looks like this. If I move it here, and this is because we need to change that in the overlay also. So we can go to the direction and change 1 here and 0 here. And one more thing we can do is that we can go to the overlay and here for the plane normal axis, we can just duplicate the direction and give that here and click apply. Now our effect look like this. You can also select the one with the fire and add that. And here I can change the direction again like that. And we might need to change this back to a two-sided material. So now we have this cool looking effect and I can cut it like this. Now we can create the overlay for the plane effect also. For that we can just duplicate this one and I will call this advanced, then open it up, then here, and we can just copy this part and we can just copy this part like that, and we can just delete this, we don't really want that, and paste it here. And now click apply, and now I can create a material instance and click this and type in overlay here and just add that like that. So now when I move the plane, you can see the effect again. So here I can change the grid size like this and like that. And here for the direction, and here we can go back to the overlay and here we have this position, so we can just duplicate that and connect this to the plane center. And here for the normal, we can just duplicate our direction and connect that here. Now we can just click clean graph, then clean up, so everything else will be deleted. And now click apply. So now we have an effect like this. So I can just move this around, or I can just rotate this to get a clean cut effect like this. And we don't really have to make the advanced one two-sided, so I can untick that and click apply. And here it will look just the same. We don't really have to make that two-sided anymore. So now I will show you how it is used in complex material like this mannequin material here. So it is really complex, not a simple color. So in order to do something like this, we can go back to the material here and we can just bring it together like this, and we can select all of this and we can either collapse this to a material function like this and save it, or we can just collapse this to a nodes like this. And here we can name the top one as MC and the bottom one as mask, and then we can just copy this. And here if I just select this mesh and open it up and open it up again, here I can just paste this and I can connect this to the MC, and here I can connect this to the mask. This is a reroute node, so in order to create that, just right click and type in reroute, and I will name this test reroute. And here you can see that I am adding the MC with the MC that was already present, and the opacity mask I'm just connecting it to the opacity. So here I created the MC here like test RT. So if I right click and type in test RT, I can just connect it here and add it with the emissive color that was already present. So that's how you add it to complex material. So you just get the emissive and the opacity, and you just connect the opacity mask here, and you just add the emissive, and then you will get that look. So I think that's it for the tutorial, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and if you want to support my channel and get all the project files from there, you can check out the links in the description below and get all the project files for just $5. Thank you very much if you support me. Thank you.